Welcome back to Motivation Library. Today we're diving into You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor.
Oh, yeah.
It's been around forever.
Yeah.
You know, this book is not just any self-help book. It goes all the way back to like Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill, that whole lineage. And Bob Proctor, he's kind of like the curator of this whole Think and Grow Rich philosophy,
She's like the keeper of the flame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What I think is so interesting about the way Proctor approaches it is that it's not like you're chasing after something you don't have. It's more like it's inside you already.
Yeah. It's almost like instead of going shopping for success, you're reorganizing your closet and you're like, oh, I had this the whole time.
Exactly.
And speaking of which, he starts the book with this story about a lawyer who leaves his very successful career.
Really?
Yeah, because he realizes he was living somebody else's dream.
Wow.
It kind of makes you think, like, are we all just in supporting roles in other people's movies?
That's a good question. It really makes you think, are you the star of your own movie? And to be the star, Proctor says you have to master this thing he calls image making.
Okay.
And it's the idea that your thoughts literally create pictures in your mind, and those pictures become your reality.
So if I can picture it, it can happen.
Well, he uses this analogy of building the first chair. Someone had to imagine it, desire it intensely before it could actually exist in the world.
Okay, so like, I'm picturing my dream life. Check. But how does this image-making thing work with something like money? Money just seems so, like, out there,
Yeah, a lot of us have a weird relationship with money. Proctor says it straight up. Money is just a tool. It's a servant. It's not something to be scared of or worshipped.
Okay.
He actually spends a bunch of time in the book debunking those common money myths.
Oh, you mean like money can't buy happiness?
Exactly. That's a big one.
We've all heard that.
But Proctor actually challenges that. He says money is like a magnifier.
What do you mean?
It amplifies who you already are.
Oh, okay.
So if you're generous, money will make you more generous. And if you're a jerk, well, you get the picture.
So it's not really about the money. It's about your mindset.
Exactly. It's all about mindset.
Okay.
And another myth he goes after is that wealth is all about luck. But he says luck is just being prepared when opportunity knocks.
Okay, so it's about aligning your efforts with the opportunity. So do we all just got to buy lottery tickets and hope for the best?
Definitely not. Proctor says the first step to attracting wealth is to be crystal clear about your financial goals.
So it's not just enough to say, I want to be rich.
Nope. He wants you to picture a specific amount of money that aligns with the lifestyle you want.
So like, not just mansions and fancy cars.
Not just daydreaming. You need a concrete number in mind.
A number. Got it.
And then he takes it a step further. Proctor actually wants you to create a detailed budget based on that ideal life you've visualized.
So a budget for a life I don't have yet.
It might sound a little backwards, but that's kind of the point. You're shifting your focus from where you are now to the abundance you want to create.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So I've pictured my dream life. I got the numbers. Now do I just wait for the money to show up?
Not quite. Proctor brings up this concept of universal intelligence. It's kind of like a higher power that's working with your efforts. And he says faith and trust in this process is really important.
So it's not just hard work and thinking positive. It's also about kind of surrendering to something bigger than yourself.
That's it. He actually tells a story about a guy named Clarence Smithson who achieved massive success by just letting go and letting God handle the details.
So are we talking about just sitting back and letting the universe do its thing?
Not exactly. It's more like aligning your desires with that higher power and trusting that things will work out as they should. It's about having faith in your abilities and taking action.
Got it. So I'm putting in the work.
Yeah.
Trusting the process. But how do I actually bridge that gap between visualizing and actually seeing it happen? Is there something I'm missing?
Well, Proctor says the key is to move from just visualizing to actually expecting it. Desire is the engine, but expectation is the magnet that pulls those desires into reality.
Okay.
He uses the analogy of a light bulb. The power was always there. We just needed to plug in.
Oh, I see. So it's about changing my mindset from I hope this happens to I know this is going to happen.
Exactly. And to show this, he tells a story about a couple who actually manifested their dream home by Christmas, even though it seemed impossible.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. But how do we know what to expect? How do we make sure we're not setting ourselves up for disappointment by expecting the wrong things?
Well, that's where the law of vibration and attraction comes in. Now, before you think this is getting too woo-woo, hear me out.
Okay.
Proctor says that everything in the universe, even our thoughts, vibrates at a specific frequency.
So it's like everything has its own energy.
Exactly, like a unique energy signature.
Okay.
And the law of attraction says attracts.
Right.
So if you're vibrating at a frequency of, say, fear and scarcity,
Yeah.
you're going to attract more of that.
Oh, I see. But if I'm vibrating at a frequency of like abundance and joy,
Then you're going to attract more of that.
so it's not just wishing and hoping. It's about aligning your energy with what you want.
Okay.
But how do you actually change your vibration? It seems kind of intangible.
Well, Proctor says we have a choice in every single moment. We can either focus on the negative or we can focus on the positive. It's about being aware of your thoughts and intentionally shifting them.
So like we're always tuning our mental radio, choosing what station to listen to.
That's a great way to put it. And when you start aligning your vibration with what you want, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities.
This is already blowing my mind, and we're just getting started. Stick around for part 2 of our deep dive into You Were Born Rich. We're going to explore even more of Proctor's principles. And hey, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Motivation Library for more life-changing content.
Welcome back to Motivation Library.
So we were talking about the law of vibration and attraction. It's a pretty wild idea that our thoughts can actually attract things into our lives.
It's powerful stuff. And you know, it kind of connects back to that image-making thing.
Right.
Those mental pictures we create, they have their own vibration, their own energy that goes out into the world.
So it's like our thoughts are like little radio towers, broadcasting our desires.
Yeah, exactly. And just like a radio tower,
Yeah.
we can choose what frequency we're sending out. Are we sending out fear and lack or confidence and abundance?
Right, but what about all that stuff outside of our control? Like the economy or, global pandemics or just bad luck. Can we really just like positive think our way out of those things?
Well, there are always going to be external challenges. But Proctor says it's our inner world, our mindset, that determines how we respond.
So it's not about denying reality, it's about how we react to it.
Exactly. He says we always have a choice. We can be victims, or we can choose to be masters of our own destiny.
Okay, and speaking of mastering our destiny, Proctor talks about taking risks. But let's be real, risks can be scary. How do we know when it's worth it to step outside our comfort zone?
Well, he actually uses this study about fighter pilots. And it might sound crazy, but the pilots who played it safe were usually the first ones shot down.
Wait, really? So playing it safe is actually more dangerous?
Sometimes, yeah. The ones who did well were the ones willing to take risks, push the limits, not reckless, but not afraid to make big moves.
That's interesting. So maybe playing it safe actually holds us back.
That's what Proctor's getting at. True growth and fulfillment are often outside that comfort zone.
We got to get uncomfortable to reach our goals. No pain, no gain, right?
Well, it's not about seeking out pain. It's more about embracing the discomfort that comes with growth. Like working out a muscle. It aches at first, but then you get stronger.
Oh yeah, I get it. And Proctor tells that story about Bob McCrary, who left a secure job to start his own business. Big risk, but it worked out for him.
Yeah, a perfect example of taking a leap of faith.
But, not all risks work out. Sometimes we fail. How does Proctor deal with that?
He acknowledges that failure is going to happen, but he wants us to change how we see it. He says failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process.
Like those posters that say failure is not an option, it's a requirement.
Exactly. Every setback, every obstacle is a chance to learn and grow. See it as feedback, not defeat.
So it's not about avoiding failure, it's about learning from it.
That's it. And this ties into another concept he talks about, the razor's edge.
Okay, what's that?
It's about those tiny differences that separate success from mediocrity. Small actions, consistent effort, they add up over time.
So it's not about one giant leap, it's about all those small steps.
You got it. He tells this story about Heinz Dowse, a salesman. He had a record month in sales just by changing his mindset, doing the little things right consistently.
So no grand gestures, just tiny tweaks that lead to big change.
That's the beauty of it. This also connects to another principle. Don't think in reverse.
It seems like a lot of this is about changing our perspective, focusing on what we want, not dwelling on the past.
You're getting it. Proctor says the past is where life ends. It's done. Can't change it.
Right, but the future.
The future is where life begins. It's full of potential.
So let go of the past to create a better future.
That's the idea. Don't get stuck in the good old days or past mistakes. Look ahead, be positive, focus on what you want.
Easier said than done, right? With all the negative news and stuff.
It's true, there's a lot of negativity out there, but we can choose what we focus on. Read things that uplift you, not drag you down.
Like we're curating our own mental museums.
Exactly. Same with our thoughts. Choose empowering thoughts, not self-doubt.
So not pretending everything's perfect, just choosing to focus on the good.
Exactly. And that brings us to a really powerful concept, the 333 approach.
Okay, what's that?
It's a way to shift from why we can't to how we can. He tells a story about Bob Templeton. He raised $3 million for tornado victims in just 3 days.
Wow, how?
He refused to think about why it couldn't be done. He only focused on how we can.
So he just went straight to solution mode.
That's it. And Proctor says we should do the same.
Okay, but how does the 333 technique work?
It's simple. Write down what you want. Then brainstorm all the reasons why you can't achieve it. And then cross out that whole list.
Hold on, I thought we were supposed to acknowledge the obstacles.
It's not about denying them, it's about shifting your energy. By crossing them out, you're letting go of those limitations.
So clearing out the clutter to make room for new beliefs. Kind of like the vacuum law of prosperity.
You got it. Letting go of the old to make space for the new. In your stuff, your thoughts, your beliefs, everything.
So recognizing that we can't hold on to everything, gotta let go to create space for something better.
Exactly. He tells the story about Marge. She transformed her home just by giving away some old drapes.
Seriously, just curtains.
It was about letting go. That act created space for something better. She redecorated her whole house.
So not wishing for more, creating space for more.
That's the key. He wants us to find one thing we can let go of today.
Could be anything, right?
Anything that's holding you back.
That's powerful stuff. Feeling inspired to do some decluttering. But before I go all Marie Kondo on my house, we have one more part of this deep dive to go. Stick around for part 3, where we wrap up You Were Born Rich.
And hey, hit that subscribe button and like this video to support Motivation Library.
Welcome back to Motivation Library. You Were Born Rich is packed with so much good stuff. Makes you really think about taking control of your life, you know?
It really does. Like that we're not just stuck with whatever happens to us. We have more power than we think.
Yeah, the vacuum law of prosperity was mind-blowing for me.
Right. So simple, but deep.
It really makes you think about what you're holding on to, you know?
It does. Like nature abhors a vacuum. If there's an empty space, something's got to fill it.
So to get new opportunities, new experiences, more abundance, we have to make space for it first.
That's the idea. Like decluttering your house. Get rid of the junk. Make room for the good stuff.
But it's not just about physical stuff, right? It's our minds, too.
Exactly.
Letting go of those thoughts that hold us back. All that mental clutter.
Yeah, that can be tough.
It's like we get comfortable with our own limitations.
It's true.
Even when they're making us unhappy.
We cling to what we know.
Even if something better is out there.
It's scary to let go.
But Proctor says growth means stepping outside that comfort zone.
It does.
Gotta let go of the old, even if it's scary.
To make room for the new.
Like that story about Marg and the drapes. It seems so small. But it was a big step for her.
It was.
And it changed her whole house.
That's the vacuum law in action.
A tiny change can lead to something huge.
Yeah, like that saying, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
We don't have to do it all at once. Just start with something small.
Exactly. Could be anything.
Cleaning out a drawer. Unsubscribing from emails.
Yeah.
Donating old books.
Or maybe it's a belief.
Like, I'm not good enough.
Those are tough ones.
I can't afford that.
But Proctor says we can change our thoughts. And when we do that, we change our reality.
He asks us, what am I holding on to that's not helping me? What can I let go of to get something better?
Powerful questions.
It can really change your life. I'm feeling inspired already. Bob Proctor's You Were Born Rich is full of wisdom. I'm going to keep coming back to this one.
Me too. It reminds us that we all have that potential for greatness.
We just got to unlock it.
Yeah.
And part of that is realizing we're not alone in this.
That's so important.
Proctor talks about connecting with something bigger than ourselves, trusting that we're being guided.
It's a beautiful thought.
Knowing that we're not just figuring it all out on our own.
We're not.
There's so much wisdom and support out there.
If we're open to it.
And that's what You Were Born Rich is all about. Opening ourselves up to those possibilities. Realizing that we really were born rich.
So true.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into You Were Born Rich.
Hope you found it helpful.
And be sure to subscribe to Motivation Library for more great content. And if you like this episode, give it a like to help others find it. Until next time, keep those mental closets clean and those vibes high.